Welcome to Revenge Justice, where every wrong finds its payback.
My friend Megan worked at a small travel agency in Portland, Oregon, right on the edge of downtown. It wasn't some big corporate office, just a cozy, owner-run business with 3 employees and a loyal local client base. Everyone knew everyone. You could hear every phone ring, every laugh, and every sigh across the room. But there was one person who made that little office a living nightmare. Her name was Carol. She was in her early 60s, sharp-tongued, manipulative, and a master at bending the rules without quite breaking them. For years, Carol had pulled the same scam. She'd sneak in extra time off, then claim overtime hours to make it up. She'd tell the owner she came in after hours to finish up some urgent work. Except she never actually did. And even when she got caught, more than once, the owner never fired her. Why? Because Carol had a reputation. Turns out, she'd been fired from another travel agency across town for doing the exact same thing. But when they let her go, she sued for unfair dismissal, and won a settlement. So yeah, everyone was afraid to cross Carol. A few years later, the original owner decided to retire and offered to sell the business to my friend, Megan. Megan had been working there long enough to know the ins and outs, and she'd always dreamed of running her own company. So she bought it. She became the new owner of Maple Trails Travel. She kept both employees, Carol included, even though she had a feeling it might come back to haunt her. And she was right. Now, Megan was smart. She put new rules in place. White heavy checkmark clear time off requests. White heavy checkmark no overtime policy. White heavy checkmark all hours must be approved in advance, in writing. Carol didn't like that. Her little side hustle of sneaky overtime dried up overnight. Still, she found her loopholes. See, Megan was a single mom with 2 teenage sons who played travel hockey. That meant she occasionally had to leave early to get them to practice or a weekend tournament. And every time Megan left the office early, Carol saw her chance. She'd wait until Megan was gone, then email herself a vacation approval, block off the day on the calendar, and take it off without ever asking in person. Megan would show up the next morning and find an empty desk and a note that said, "Out today, back tomorrow." It happened more times than she could count. But honestly, Megan didn't mind that much. With a no overtime policy, every day Carol skipped was one less paycheck to write. And between Megan and the other employee, business carried on just fine. Then came the breaking point. Megan had planned to take 2 days off for her son's regional hockey tournament in Seattle. She sent out an email weeks in advance telling both Carol and the other employee that no one was allowed to request time off during those 2 days. It was all very clear, both in writing and in person. But Carol always thought she was smarter than everyone else. One Saturday, Megan stopped by the office to catch up on invoices and tidy up before her trip. And that's when she saw it. On Carol's desk, an open folder. Inside was a travel booking confirmation. It was a trip to Las Vegas. Not just for Carol's daughter and son-in-law, but a plane ticket in Carol's own name to Phoenix, where her daughter lived. The dates? The exact same days Megan was supposed to be gone. Megan blinked. Then checked the company vacation calendar. Sure enough, Carol had gone in and booked herself those days off. Megan didn't blow up. She didn't confront her in person. She simply sent an email. "Hi Carol, unfortunately, I have to deny your time off request for next week since I'll be out of town and need everyone in the office. Thank you for understanding." Within an hour, Carol replied, with a story. She claimed her daughter was getting long-awaited medical treatment and needed Carol to come help with her granddaughter for a few days. Megan stared at the email and exhaled slowly. Then she replied, "Carol, I'm aware that your daughter and her husband have a trip booked to Las Vegas during that time, and your own ticket to Phoenix matches those dates. I understand family is important, but this time off was already denied and cannot be approved." That's when Carol panicked and doubled down. She wrote back, "After all these years of loyalty to this business, I can't believe I'm being treated this way. Maybe it's time I finally retire. Consider this my 2 weeks' notice." Megan didn't respond to the dramatics. She simply said, "Thank you for the notice. Please note that your time-off request remains denied." Then she called her accountant, who also acted as her business advisor, and explained the situation. The accountant practically laughed. "Megan," he said, "you just got the golden ticket. She quit. You've got it in writing. You don't owe her severance, just her final pay and 2 weeks' wages in lieu. That's it." Monday morning. Megan got to the office early, her long-term boyfriend with her as a witness. She boxed up all of Carol's personal items, the desk trinkets, the pens, the mug that said, "World's Best Employee," ironically. But she also took back one very important thing, a small box of handwritten index cards that Carol used to keep client information on, names, phone numbers, addresses, even credit card info. That box belonged to the business. And letting it leave the office would have been a serious privacy violation. By 8:55 a.m., Megan, her boyfriend, and the other employee were all waiting. Carol breezed in right on time, acting like nothing had happened. "Morning," she chirped. She was halfway to her desk when Megan said, calmly, "Carol, there's no need to go any further. I've accepted your notice of retirement." Carol froze. "What?" Megan handed her a check, payment for her current hours, plus 2 weeks' wages in lieu of finishing out her notice. Carol blinked. "I didn't actually retire. I was just upset. I didn't mean it." Megan stayed calm. "You gave written notice, Carol. I've accepted it. I wish you the best in your retirement." Carol's face turned red. She turned to the other employee for backup, but they just looked away. That's when she spotted the missing box. "Where's my client file box?" "That's mine," she snapped. Megan shook her head. "It's company property, Carol. It contains clients' personal information. I can't legally give it to you." Carol refused to leave. She started ranting, demanding her box back, threatening lawsuits. So Megan said, quietly, "If you won't leave, I'll have to call the police." Her boyfriend picked up the phone and dialed. Within minutes, 2 Portland police officers arrived. They separated everyone. One officer talked to Carol outside while the other listened to Megan explain everything inside. When they compared notes, the officers agreed the box stayed with Megan. Legally, it was company data. The officers handed Carol her personal items and told her, "You need to leave the property." And that was that. Carol stormed off, muttering about being wrongfully fired, though everyone knew she'd retired herself. The next day, Megan decided to have a little fun. She put up a big sign in the travel agency window. "Party Popper, congratulations, Carol, on your retirement. Party Popper. Wishing you all the best in your next adventure." And for good measure, she ran a small announcement in the local newspaper too. But the real cherry on top. When she filled out the government paperwork for Carol's departure, she checked the box for "retired" as the reason for leaving. Which meant Carol wasn't eligible for unemployment benefits. Sometimes, revenge doesn't need to be loud. Sometimes, it's just about letting people's own lies catch up with them. And in this case, Carol's little scam career finally ended, by her own hand. Play manipulative games long enough, and eventually, you'll outsmart yourself. Integrity may not always win fast, but it always wins fair. If you enjoyed this true revenge tale, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories about karma, justice, and poetic payback, the kind that's perfectly legal and perfectly satisfying. Balance scale fire.